All right, I read from this before. This is the Anaclipsis by Godfrey Higgins. There's still that lie going around that we only come from one place and the out of Africa theory. We got to get rid of it. Okay, it reads right here that the Negro, the black man, is to be found in cold as well as hot climates. The Negro is to be found, meaning you can find the Negro in places, or the black man in places, the Shemite, woolly-haired, copper-colored man, in places where there's four seasons, where it gets snow, where there's longer winters, shorter springs, shorter summers. You can still find people with our skin color in these places. It doesn't say that you can the Negro can be brought to these climates. A Negro can be brought from a warm climate to a cold climate. It doesn't say that you can bring the black man from the west coast of Africa to somewhere in the northeast of America, like Chicago, like southern Canada, like the Montana, Nebraska, one of these places like that. And you're shocked he can survive the winter. It doesn't say that. It says that you can find the Negro phenotype in these areas, meaning you can pull up to America like they did, and they found us there. Our skin color matches the autumn leaves. It matches the trees. It matches everything about us. Just matches those woods, the woodland indigenous, the woodland natives. It says below that his complexion is to be ascribed to more civilization and lifestyle than it is to climate. Very interesting. Another brother on YouTube was saying that because because black Shemites, sons of Adam, have been eating such a horrible diet for so many centuries and eating foods that they're not allowed to, that they're not supposed to be eating, that they lost a lot of the red glow, the kind of golden, really copper glow that they had. And I think it was in the Songs of Solomon where it talked about famine, and it said his skin got darker. His brother was saying your skin gets darker when there's a famine. When black people go through malnutrition, their skin gets darker. So that's just something interesting. I have to look into that. But I wanted to jump over to Europe as well, because a lot of people want to forget that we came from over there. Judah left Europe. Judah, and a lot of you have black European DNA in you. That's why these sneaky DNA tests will be like, you're this part European, or black people in America will be like, I got this relative from Scotland and this part from Ireland and stuff like that. Yeah, they're telling you you're part Jacob, you're part Judah. Judah is all 12 tribes brought together. And a lot of people like to say, oh, the Most High mixed our bloodline. Yeah, he mixed it with other nations, but he mixed it with ourselves first. We had to strengthen our bloodline before it can be diluted into other people's for our little period of struggle that we were going through. Breeding us out was one of their goals. Definitely was one of their goals. So our bloodline had to be strong to go through the time period that we're going to have to go to survive that. So when these people say, oh, these white people need to get out of here, they need to go back to Europe. Well, Europe's not theirs either. Europe is not theirs either. They've just been ruling it for so long and they've whitewashed the history for so long that a lot of people forget. But a lot of you have black European DNA. Those were a lot of the original people that came over here running, getting kicked out of Europe. They came over, met their cousins over here. They chased us over here, got all 12 of us together, and we've been under bondage ever since. Germany, we know that Benjamin Franklin in his paper on observation of mankind told us that the Germans were dark-skinned. The rest of the world was dark-skinned. Europe was wholly so, he said. America too, right? Tawny, dark-skinned. This provides further evidence. People say, oh, there's no way that black people can be indigenous to Europe. It's too dark and cloudy. And are there four seasons? How do we know that the climate didn't change? There's lots of reports of the climate changing and a lot of the climate going downhill when we were invaded. A lot of places that were temperate with us kind of got skewed from a lot of stuff that happened with the environment. I'm not going to say necessarily global warming, because that's a natural thing that's was supposed to be happening, but just check it out here. Deserted. These are all this. You have all these Caucasians love to say, "Oh, black people need to stop crying about servitude and slavery and what happened in the past." Us Irish went through slavery, and we're not crying about it. And I always say this to them: go get me the description of those slaves you're talking about. White people love talking about the Irish slaves, but they never want to bring you a slave log. They never want to show you the descriptions of these slaves that were coming over from Ireland, from Scotland, from Europe, the descendants of the Druids, who in Acts 29, the Apostle Paul said was his brethren. He went to go visit them, and he said, these are Hebrews, these are Israelites. They're practicing our customs. They're our same people. These are our brothers and sisters. These people all got kicked out of Europe. Let's go look at some of these descriptions right here of the people getting kicked out of Ireland. Jeremy O'Hara, of a swarthy black complexion. Thomas Short, dark complexion. Dark complexion. Ruddy complexion. Ruddy is dark. A native of Boston, a native of the Northeast, native of Ireland, native of Ireland. There is no such thing as black British culture. The black British culture that once existed came over to the Americas. It's now in the Americas. It's of the Shemites. It's of Israel. It's of the tribe of Judah that was ruling Europe. They got kicked out. They got put under their punishment. Given the last chance, go over there. Let's see if you can help straighten your cousins out. Since you want to talk about being a king so much, you want to talk about being a priest so much, you're messing up over here. Let's see if you can go over there and help your cousins. Let's see if you can keep your titles over there. Let's see how you guys do over there together. They came over to the Americas. We all got in trouble. None of us wanted to switch up. None of us wanted to return. Look at this. Where is he from? He's a native of England. Swarthy complexion. Wow, check this out. A Scottish girl. She came from Scotland. Swarthy complexion. She can't even speak English. She couldn't even speak English. She was still speaking her indigenous native tongue when she came over here. Why do you think all those Irish slaves that got kicked out of Ireland and sent to Jamaica, what type of accent do Jamaicans have that is commonly referred to as somebody else's? White people love Jamaican accents because it sounds like which one of their cousins' accents? Ah, exactly. Now, don't forget this article that I read in the video on Queen Khalifa, where it was referencing why the Negro is hated, why the black man is hated worldwide. It was going down a list of options or questions saying, is it because he's a slave? Was it because of this? And it gets to his skin color. It was because of his dark skin. And it says it can't be because all these other people around the world have skin just as dark as him, if not darker, and they're not hated. And remember that list. You go down here. Some of those are in where? Europe, Laplander, Greenlander. They're telling you that these people are swarthy, if not as dark as the Negro of the Congo. Let's just make sure it's fully understood what swarthy means before they try to lie and try to revert it to some other meaning. Before they start going crazy, swarthy means having naturally dark skin. All Aboriginals of America will always originally be described as swarthy, copper-colored, ruddy. Again, more runaways. Look at all these Irish black runaways. Look at all these dark skin, dark complexion Irish runaways that can't speak English. Literally, they can't get around it. Oh, it says swarthy or it says ruddy. That means us. Black, swarthy complexion. He is a black, swarthy Irish man, but he speaks pretty good English. Again, read the descriptions of these runaways. Whenever a white person brings up the Irish were slaves, tell them, demand them, give me the slave logs. Give me the description of those slaves. According to white people, they were the slaves in Egypt as well. The Iberian Peninsula, again, we're sticking with Europe because we're trying to show that black people can be found in places where there's seasons, where it's a little chilly, where they tell you black people are not supposed to be indigenous from. You find them indigenous to there. The old Phoenician traders recorded that the inhabitants of Spain were a small, dark-skinned race known as the Iberians. The natives of the Iberian Peninsula are a dark-skinned race. Iberians, Irish, Scottish, all dark-skinned. Iberians, a dark-skinned race. Again, the more you study, the more accurate this map will become. Now, I know the land goes up and down, the earth is sentient, and it may not look exactly what you think it looks like, but I think this is pretty close. Outside of the shapes, we can get the climate, and we can get at least we know America is our land. At least we know that much. And there's some other places, too, that I'm sure are certainly our spots. Do I even need to touch on Spain, Portugal? By this point, even white people know Spain, Portugal, and Italy were overran by what they would call Africans. They just call them Africans, but they even admit that Spain, Portugal, and Italy have a huge, heavy black presence in their history. So maybe I'll touch on Spain a little bit later. Just gonna leave this here since we're talking about swarthy. Cough, cough, cough. Malabar. Malabar. Haven't I already touched on that? Again, we have more about Spain right here, about the Moors, Portugal. I was talking to an Italian guy, straight up freaking Sopranos cast member one day in the back of an Uber when I first moved down here. And he was telling me all about the black people up in Italy and stuff like that and exactly where they were. I already know. Listen, shout out to all my Sicilians. If you know, you know. Origins of the term blue bloods comes from the Moors, the black Moors of Spain. Check this crazy article out. Frog child. Both of his parents are black Moors.